Yeah, nothing like a little STP to wake you up in the morning, baby. That was a fun show last night. Johnny Depp on stage with the DeLeo brothers. You can't beat that one. Anyway,
I didn't know he could play guitar. Johnny Depp.
I know. That's the voice of Chris Wynn, by the way. He joins us every week.
Wait. Johnny Depp?
Yeah, he
was on stage.
If you showed up on time, instead of 15 minutes into a segment.
Did you meet him?
What do you mean, did I meet him? No, I didn't go backstage and meet him. No.
I figured you'd have met him.
No.
I would have met him.
By the way, you're not even a loyal listener to the Vegas Take. It's okay if you show up late, but you weren't listening to the show in your car? You're not helping us with ratings? What kind of co-host are you? You don't even listen to our show? Like, I get it. People run late sometimes. It happens. But what? You're not even listening to the radio when you drive in? Like, what are you listening to? One of our competitors? No, I want to know. It's a very legitimate question. What do you listen to when you drive into work? You don't listen to me? You don't listen to the Vegas Take? What do you listen?
I think I was listening to Chet Buchanan.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I'm sure Chet will appreciate that. By the way, Chet's not on after 9 a.m., so you're lying. You're lying. You're lying. You're absolutely lying. Anyway, we have a lot to get to, a lot to go over. As you know, folks, Michael Avenatti joins us every week on the show. And, yeah, he used to make the rounds. He used to be on TV all the time. It's because he was representing Stormy Daniels. Mm-hmm. And that was a huge case. Well, guess what? The case is still ongoing now because she filed a suit against him. He filed a countersuit a few days ago against her. But there's really no reason right now for the networks to talk about Donald Trump with him. We appreciate him coming on because we like talking just regular politics with him because I think he's actually a very smart, entertaining guy to talk to. That's why we have him on every week. So there's a lot of people that spread around a lot of rumors about this guy. Keep in mind, he's never been convicted of a crime. And a lot of people don't like him because of his politics. A lot of people don't like Michael Avenatti. In fact, if you talk to many people that don't like Michael Avenatti, it's either one of two reasons. Number one, they're conservatives, they're Donald Trump supporters. Or number two, they've heard rumors about him that are not true. You know, Alyssa Milano doesn't talk to him anymore because she thinks he's a wife beater, which couldn't be further from the truth. He's never put his hand on a woman. He's never even been charged with anything like that before. So anyway, there's a reason why I bring this stuff up. This guy, I've never even heard of him before. His name is Chadwick Moore. First of all, what kind of name is Chadwick? Okay, excuse me, Mr. Chadwick. It's like some guy at the country club that's sitting there, you know, drinking an iced tea. Excuse me, Chadwick.
It's not Bill. It's William. It's not Brad. It's Bradley.
Yeah. Call your son Chad, not Chadwick. What is he, Chadwick the Fourth? I mean, it just ugh. Anyway,
well, it's like Ted and Theodore.
Yeah. Anyway, he works for. I've never heard of this either. Spectator USA. What the hell is that? Is it a magazine for spectators at sporting events? Like, what is that? Spectator USA. So anyway, this guy who I've never heard of before does a 3-minute segment on CNN on Friday. It was literally a 3-minute segment with Tucker, and all the segment was
on
about
Fox News, not CNN.
Or I'm sorry, Fox News. Definitely not CNN. Fox News. And all the guy does is bash Michael Avenatti with there's no facts or there's no basis for the segment.
No substance.
Yeah, just to go after him and call him the creepy porn lawyer. So this is this guy, Chadwick Moore. Chadwick. Friday night, they're talking about Avenatti seeking a $2 million from, as they say, the poor stripper, Stormy Daniels.
His day would be showing up at CNN. Now, I don't know if you have been to CNN, you used to work there, I've been to CNN. Just showing up there is an experiment in human misery. You have to dry clean your clothes when you leave to get the stench of decay out of it. And he has to sit in makeup. He has to, then he has to go into the studio, hundreds of times we're talking about, and he has to surround himself with the Stelters and the Tappers and the Cuomos, and essentially perform a kind of Mr. Rogers-like role where he talks to puppets for the entertainment of children.
So weren't we supposed to be talking about the Stormy Daniels case? Instead, keep in mind, that was 40 seconds of a 3-minute segment where this guy Chadwick is talking about being sarcastic, trying to be funny, talking about how hard it is to show up to CNN, which he used to do an appearance. When this guy Chadwick is doing the same thing on Fox News, there's no why are you even doing this segment? And of course Tucker with that stupid little predator smirk that he has on his show every night. So it goes on.
I could actually hear the smirk too through the audio.
Yeah. So it goes on with this guy Chadwick and more bashing.
But his day isn't over then. He has to then go home and relentlessly Google himself. He needs to get onto Twitter and search for himself all night long and pick fights with random people. Then he has to run for president. And he has to hold press conferences where no one shows up and buy really, really expensive suits.
First of all, what's wrong with buying expensive suits? Number one, the guy's won more than $1 billion in settlements.
He does have some really nice suits.
Number two, who the hell is this guy? he comes on Tucker's show just to bash Michael Avenatti for all the TV appearances he made when this guy's doing a 3-minute appearance himself. What I don't understand, I guess I do understand it, because Tucker's just getting any guest he can find, someone that'll come on that'll bash Michael Avenatti.
Chadwick is trying to draw some attention to himself by being over the top like everybody else does in news and media, because you have to now to stand out. You have to say the most ridiculous, obscene things about somebody else, and you have to pick a fight, and then if Avenatti responds, and suddenly Chadwick has increased his social profile, but he sounds like he's in the theater, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he sounds like some other things that I won't say on the radio. But anyway, in regards going back to Chadwick or Chad, or I call him 3-minute Chad because that's how long the segment was. It was 3 minutes. That sounds like somebody in a porn flick or something. But yeah, 3-minute Chad. My problem with this guy is, first of all, he's a little weasel. He claims he left he's a homosexual man who claims he left the Democrats because they weren't treating him fairly. Yep. So now he's a conservative. Do you really think that if you go to the right, you're going to be treated better as a gay man than if you were on the left? Listen, I don't have anything in this fight, left or right. But if you want to ask me or any normal, non-biased person which party would treat you better if you're a homosexual, it would definitely be the left when it comes to gay marriage and equal rights and those sorts of things. Mike Pence is a perfect example of that. How's that working out for gay people throughout the country? Look at Mike Pence and look at some of the laws and some of the things that he's helped to put down. He's been anti-gay marriage. At one point in his career, he actually pushed an agenda or pushed a law to try to push homosexuals to go to conversion therapy. His wife works at a school that does not allow homosexuals to either go to school there or to actually work there. It's absurd. And this guy thinks that the right treats people better than the left when it comes to homosexuality. It is one of the most absurd things I've ever heard in my life. This guy is either a liar or he's just not very intelligent, or maybe both.
Well, the first thing I thought when I looked into some of the background of Chadwick was that, look, I immediately made the comparison of Candace Owens, right? He basically is the white male gay Candace Owens, in my opinion, when it comes to supporting the right, because his reasoning behind leaving both the left wing as well as the Democratic Party is that he doesn't feel like it was representative of him enough, right? Or he doesn't feel that they had his back, which is, by the way, very ironic, given that what do you hear from the right all the time when they describe Democrats or those on the left? Is that, oh, you're a bunch of snowflakes, you're a bunch of sensitive snowflakes, yet you're so weak in your convictions as a person and as a man and as a political person that you're going to just switch allegiances and go over to the other side ideologically that doesn't have anything in common with you because you feel quote unquote butthurt by the support that you feel you haven't gotten from the left. To me, it's just the epitome of hypocrisy on his part.
And there was no substance in that segment at all. I mean, no substance with this guy. If you want to talk about the Stormy Daniels case, then go ahead and talk about it. And if you disagree with what Michael Avenatti is doing by this counter lawsuit, then talk about it. Here's something I don't understand about many people that go after Avenatti, including Tucker Carlson. They want people to feel bad for Stormy Daniels, like she doesn't have any money and she's stripping because she's poor. This is something she did before the Donald Trump stuff, and now after the Donald Trump stuff, this is what she does for work, and she's making 5 to 10 times more money now doing it than she did before. Right. And the reason for that is because Michael Avenatti went on all the networks and pushed out this story. That's the reason why. And for people to come out like weasels like Tucker Carlson to say that, poor Stormy Daniels, I feel so sorry for her. Why? She chose to have unprotected sex with Donald Trump. That was a choice that she made. Nobody forced her to make it. Yeah. And because of that choice, she's benefited from it. She's made a lot of money. She wrote a book. Do you think she would have had this book come out? You think anyone would have bought a book if she didn't have sex with Donald Trump? Of course not. Do you think this book would have come out if Michael Avenatti wasn't her attorney? Probably not. Avenatti made the rounds. He went on every single network, and it benefited her. Did it benefit Michael Avenatti? Absolutely. But it also benefited Stormy Daniels. It's also the reason, most likely, why Michael Cohen is behind bars. It's also the reason why this tax thing has come to play in regards to Donald Trump, and we'll get to that in a little bit, where Donald Trump might be one step closer to be forced to show his tax returns. So these people that go after Michael Avenatti, they don't know the facts. Now listen, if Michael Avenatti is convicted of a crime, not charged, convicted of a crime, then I will absolutely talk about it, and I will be very, very disappointed. I don't have the facts in all of these cases. I don't. The people that have all the facts, the people that know whether they're guilty or not, is Michael Avenatti and the attorneys in the case. Yeah. But I am not going to sit here and say that I feel bad for Stormy Daniels. I don't at all. In fact, I think she has zero credibility. She claims that she, is a patriot. She's not. Stormy Daniels is no patriot. She tried to shop the story of sleeping with Donald Trump for her own personal gain. And, if she was a patriot, she would have released all that information. She wouldn't have tried to sell it. She made $120,000 in that payment. She wrote a book. She's capitalized off of it. Don't feel sorry for Stormy Daniels at all.
Well, Brian, I push back on you, though, on the point that, she's become successful and become a public figure just because she had, it has nothing to do with her having unprotected sex with Donald Trump. It's because of the circumstances playing out where Donald Trump is now the president. And, of course, we've come into focus with these details regarding, possible campaign finance violations and all. This became such a huge story. It has nothing to do with the circumstances surrounding her having sexual relations with Trump.
Answer this question then. Answer this question.
I'm just pushing back on it. That's not why she's famous.
Okay, answer this question then.
Yeah.
Would she have written a book if she did not have sex with Donald Trump?
What do you mean? She would have. No, probably not.
Okay,
no.
well, there you go.
Okay, let's put it this way. She wouldn't have written a book if Donald Trump didn't become president. And this whole thing wouldn't be under a huge microscope, right? Well, because he's the president.
But she accepted $120,000.
It's a loaded question. To
not talk about it, and then she decided to break that arrangement. She broke the NDA that she signed.
That's fine. I understand that. Yes.
Regardless,
but the question is, let's say that she had written a book about, or let's say that she had the encounter with Ben Roethlisberger that she had talked about, where Roethlisberger followed her back to her hotel room. I think it was actually at Mar-a-Lago, wasn't it? Or where did that take place?
No, it was actually wasn't it Lake Tahoe at a golf tournament or something?
But just let's assume that was the only situation and she was still a porn star. Would she have written a book? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point.
The fact that Donald Trump is involved in this conversation is the only reason why she is getting any national press because, again, he is the president of the United States.
And look, I'm not defending Stormy Daniels. I'm just pointing out that just because the fact that having unprotected sex with somebody, I don't care if it's Donald Trump or Bill Clinton or whoever it is, that's not why she's become more in the public eye or more famous. It's because of the circumstances afterwards. It's the fact that that Donald Trump got elected president of the United States, and then all this huge story about possible campaign finance violations came out, and that's why.
Back, okay, well,
it has nothing to do. Because look, I don't know if we're going to talk about this on the air, but we have a friend of the show, who took issue with you about saying it was sexist. It's because of it has nothing to do with the actual act of him having sex with her and her prosperity or whatever you want to call it as far as her in the public eye.
Hold on a second. I personally believe that you lose a lot of credibility as a human being when you do a couple things that Stormy Daniels did. First of all, having unprotected sex with Donald Trump when he's married and just had a child is not exactly a very
glowing endorsement. No, it's not.
That's number one. And then number two, when you call yourself a patriot and then you try to sell the story, I think she loses a lot of credibility. I don't think she has any credibility. If she was a man, I would say the same thing. So you're right. It has nothing to do with this. But going back to our buddy Chadwick, 3-minute Chad, you want to talk about somebody who has zero credibility. Again, I've never heard of this guy before. I don't know what Spectator USA is. But the fact that you go on a network, and by the way, people out there that call Michael Avenatti the creepy porn lawyer. First of all, it is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
Ridiculous.
Just because you are an attorney that represents an adult film star, there's nothing creepy about that. It goes to show you, again, Tucker Carlson is the guy that says that white supremacy is a hoax. Some of these hosts on Fox News are just disgusting people. There's nothing creepy about it. All that is are people that want to attack him personally without any substance, and Tucker's a perfect example of that.
I think the creepy comes from his. They're trying to make his appearance seem like he's creepy, which honestly, he's a very polished guy. He's dressed very well. He's clean cut. He's eloquent. He's well spoken. Yeah. It just doesn't stick.
Well, it's a perception, isn't it? That attorneys that represent, whether it's porn stars, whether it's exotic dancers, there's that perception in America, right, where they're just scumbags, right, or they're sleazeballs in some way.
And let's
if they're attorneys for these people.
Porn stars and exotic dancers have enough money to pay attorneys, so I'm sure there's a lot more out there. You want to talk about how many porn stars get divorced? How many exotic dancers are involved in legal situations? By that specific logic, Tucker Carlson, there's millions of CPLs in the United States of America.
You want to go after attorneys, don't go after Michael Avenatti. If you want to go after attorneys, go after people that are already in jail, like Michael Cohen, okay? Go after attorneys that represent people like Scott Peterson that try to get him off scot-free on double murder charges. Go after Robert Shapiro. Go after attorneys that got O.J. Simpson out. Now, I know they're doing their job and they're not breaking the law and they're defending the Constitution. I get all that. But why, if you want to go after some attorneys, go after attorneys that represent career criminals. And I know it's their job. But to go after someone to represent a porn star, an adult film star, is absurd. And
how about this? Don't go after them at all, because everybody in America deserves a defense, regardless of how despicable of human beings they are, or what walk of life that they happen to be in, or what occupation they happen to have. People deserve in the United States of America defense. So that's what attorneys and lawyers do.
So, Chad, 3-minute Chad, you did a great job going on there, 3 minutes with Tucker Carlson. By the way, we've invited Chadwick to come on the show to debate Michael Avenatti. To no surprise, he is a complete coward. He declined the request. And he, in my personal opinion, I don't think he's ever going to debate Michael Avenatti. And he claims that he wanted a neutral show to debate Michael Avenatti.
But wait a minute, Brian. There's other national forums that he and Michael can debate on, apparently, right? There's people clamoring to get this person along with Michael on their show.
At this point, it's embarrassing. Mike Davis, Donald Trump Jr., Chadwick Moore, if you're going to call this guy out on social media, take him on or just shut your mouth, because obviously you aren't good enough to take this guy. You don't have the content and the substance to back up anything. In a debate, Michael Avenatti would crush all three of these guys probably simultaneously.
Yeah, no, I agree.
At this point.
I agree.
And what did Chadwick? What was that segment even about? He was making up. He was making up some type of fantasy situation of what happens before you walk into.
He puts on his makeup.
Brian, was he talking about wardrobe and stuff like that? What was going down?
Yeah, talk about no substance at all.
It made absolutely zero sense whatsoever. And what are you going to debate about? Who can make the best story?
And here's the funny thing: that guy probably knew he was making that appearance a day or two, so that's all. That's all he could come up with. Well, he puts on his wardrobe. He puts on his makeup. It's so hard for him to make these appearances. That's what you had. That's what you did in 2 days. That was your research on Michael Avenatti. Talk nothing about the case itself.
Didn't you do the exact same thing a half an hour ago before he came on this show? Isn't there a dressing room at Fox News? I'm sure there is. There's not a dressing room?
Oh, dressing room. They have everything. JD, they've got makeup.
Did you show up in a T-shirt or did you wear a suit? What was he wearing? I'm sure he was wearing a suit. I mean, it's total hypocrisy.
Well, 3-minute Chad, we do offer that to you. If you would like to come on and debate Michael Avenatti, we asked you on social media and you attacked our show, so we attacked you back. And if you'd like to come on to debate Michael Avenatti, the forum is open for you. And frankly, there's a lot of people that are afraid to debate Michael Avenatti, and then they use the excuse, oh, he's a scumbag.
No, at this point, it's clearly fear. It's not a matter of lowering yourself to his level, because he's getting national attention he has for 2 years. Yeah. It's fear. Obviously, you're not good enough to get in the ring with him, so stop talking about it. Yeah. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. And listen, like I said, I'll be the first one to say it. If he's convicted of anything, which I hope he's not, by the way, but if he is convicted of something, then I'll be the first one to talk about it on the air, and I'll be very disappointed if he is. Mm-hmm. But that's yet to be determined. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think he's an extremely intelligent guy. I think he's a very good attorney. And 99% of the people that are out there to get him or are after him are partisan hacks who are on the right, who just don't like him because of his politics. Mm-hmm. They don't like the fact that he went after their boy, Donald Trump. And also, make no mistake about it, if he didn't go after some of the most powerful people in the world like Donald Trump, I don't think he'd be in the situation he is in now, the legal situation I'm talking about. I believe Donald Trump and members of his administration, including Barr, went after Michael Avenatti. And I think that's why he's in the situation he's in today. And that's a sad point that we are in our country right now. It's really sad when people abuse their power, overuse their power. And, we talk about the Ukraine stuff, and there are still many Republicans out there that think it's a nothing burger. We had Danny Tarkanian on the show last week who said, why aren't we talking about the great economy? It's just absurd. There's no way to defend all this stuff. And coming up in a few minutes here, we're going to talk about the president that has now been ordered to turn over his tax returns to the Manhattan DA. Now, it's probably going to take a while, but I think eventually he's going to have to turn over his tax returns. And now we see Donald Trump going after Nancy Pelosi, going after Schiff again. We've heard those things. And, now also another story of a second whistleblower that may give House Democrats some fresh information. There's a lot of new stuff that we need to talk about in regards to Donald Trump And in regards to this Ukrainian situation, which, by the way, folks, it's not going away. Stop bringing up Barack Obama. Stop bringing up Hillary Clinton. Okay, stop bringing up Bill Clinton, because it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with what's happening right now.
I am curious where the Jeffrey Epstein situation went. It just kind of disappeared. What
because
happened with
there's
that?
been a final determination that it was suicide. He's dead.
All right.
That's why it's gone away. I mean, it's been determined, right, by authorities that it was suicide, and so it's a shut, closed, done deal.
No investigations. Where did he get his money? Who did he work with? Who was he in touch with for the last 20 or 30 years? Why was he in constant pictures with all these different high-ranking politicians and celebrities? Those are questions I'd like to have answered, but I guess that's not going to happen.
Well, again, I mean, he's dead. So you can investigate it all you want to. He's not. You can't unbury him and put him back in jail. The guy's dead. So I mean, what else can you do? As far as the people that he victimized and sexually abused, and I wish they could take all his money and give it to the victims, because I think they're deserving of it. And usually I don't say that sort of thing when it comes to lawsuits and all that stuff. But he victimized so many young girls. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with all of his money. But certainly I don't think his family deserves it. I don't think any of his personal friends deserve it. But I do think that the victims deserve it. But again, we'll have to look into it and continue to monitor it. But there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world of politics right now that we need to get to. So we're going to talk about, coming up next, we're going to talk about this second whistleblower that may give House Democrats some new information. We're going to talk about Donald Trump's attacks over the weekend again on Nancy Pelosi and Schiff, and the fact that Donald Trump once again takes a blow in regards to his tax returns. We'll talk about that and much, much more. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.